Hi, my name is Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Digital Content for ASI, and today I have the honor of speaking with Dr. Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State. Hi.
Hi, good to be with you, Teresa.
Yes. So first, I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your early life as a refugee and how that shaped your worldview as an adult.
Well, I was born just before World War II and was a refugee from the Nazis and lived in England all through the Blitz. So I spent a lot of my early life in an air raid shelter. And then after that, my father became an ambassador to Yugoslavia after the war. And then the communists took over Czechoslovakia, and we came to the United States. And so I was a refugee again. And the first 11 years of my life were kind of crazy. My parents were incredible because they could make the abnormal seem normal. But I had traveled around a lot. I spoke Czech and English and French. I just didn't speak American when I came here in November '48.
And I think something you had said was the difference between being a refugee in the United States and anywhere else is kind of how they treated you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The English were very kind, frankly, and they said, we're so sorry your country's been taken over by a terrible dictator. You're welcome here. What can we do to help you? And when are you going home? And when we came to the United States, people would say, we're so sorry. Your country's been taken over by a terrible system. You're welcome here. What can we do to help you? And when will you become a citizen? And that is what made America different from other countries.
So when you served as Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, you gained a reputation for being outspoken and telling it like it is. Can you tell us a little bit about how that served you well dealing with world leaders?
I think that when you come into a country, you do have to have some small talk and things and really have an opportunity. But ultimately, you have a job to talk about what the issues are. And so I would say it's very nice to be here, but I've traveled a long way, so I must be frank.
Right.
And I really would talk about things that I had to in terms of human rights and the issues that were between our countries.
Okay. So diplomacy and negotiation, obviously those are key roles, in your political career, but those are things that go beyond politics. So how can business leaders use diplomacy and negotiation, to further their careers? How can you use it in like a non-political way?
I think I'm glad you asked that, because I think the thing that's very important in diplomacy and also in business is to put yourself into the other person's shoes. It's very important to understand what they want and how it relates to what you want. And I think that it's that aspect of being able to know how to have a win-win instead of a zero-sum. I think that it has to be something that works for both parties, and it's true in diplomacy, and it's certainly true in business also.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So another of your messages has been that democracy is resilient but fragile. Can you talk a little bit more about what that means?
I think that democracy is people, definitely, and that's what makes it resilient. But it's fragile if people don't understand that there is a responsibility that one has as a citizen in a democratic country. And so people have to participate. They need to understand what the issues are and not just think somebody up there will take care of it. And so it is resilient because it is composed of people who are able and should voice their ideas and everything, and only fragile if people forget that they have to have a role and that you can't take democracy for granted.
Okay. And then I just wanted to end on the lighter note. We have to talk about your pin because we always have to talk about your pins, right? So you have this devil pin on. What does that mean today?
Well, it's special today for the group that I'm with all of you that are into advertising. Because I have a new book coming out, and the title of it is Hell and Other Destinations. So I thought having a devil pin would tell the story, and I'm very glad you asked, because now I can be drawing attention to it.
So you're making an impression, which is something we do with promotional products all the time. We talk about making lasting impressions, and that's what you're doing. So it was wonderful to talk to you today. Thank you so much. And for ASI, I'm Teresa Hegel.